welcome everyone to the Student Investor Podcast with myself, Ivan Sambo. Today we are staying within the profession of finance, but we're taking a small turn. Well, let's call it a short left. We're talking about auditing and how it works. I have a gentleman right here that is credential, will surprise you. But you know me on this show, I don't like introducing people. I don't believe in telling people who they are. I want them to introduce themselves the best way when you stand in the mirror, how you see yourself. So let me first allow you the opportunity to introduce yourself and how you got into auditing, how you have lived your life. Even start with simple as like where you coming from, your history and all of that.
Okay, my name is Manenzhe.
Yeah.
Surname is Manenzhe. Wachitanda cha msimiri Manenzhe wagono. Wachikashure cha Manenzhe chisadaliwa nga mvulo no chinodala nga mabili vili. Wanyagulula mranzi no ferro pando orato. Ara mapapu yate. Yes, I am a qualified chartered certified accountant, ACCA. Was admitted in 2011. And I became a fellow just 5 years later of the ACCA, meaning I have qualified and remain within my CPD, as I always submit them. And I have served in private sector. I did my articles with one of the big four auditing firms there. I stayed there for almost 6 years. I have almost about 20 years in public service. I have been a CFO across provincial, local government, as well as national, and all, I should say, other two arms of state. Been a CFO for over 11 years today. And yes, I have chosen this career. Should I say it was chosen for me by my... Or
it chose you.
Or it chose me. You know, you can put it either way. But still to date, I have got no regret. Yes.
So now, when we talk about auditing, my channel, my platform is made of young people mostly. So when we talk about auditing, all of them are thinking the auditor general. They're thinking about numbers. But for you as someone who has this lengthy career in the space, how would you tell someone this is auditing? How would you define auditing for a normal, everyday person to say the best way to describe auditing is this?
Maybe the best way to describe it, perhaps maybe in a way that I can explain it to my child. In the most easiest way. It's when I am going to, say, for instance, buy shares in a company, and the company gives me a set of documents that says, these are my assets, therefore you can buy shares at 50 rands. How do I know that those financials are reliable? How do I know that they are honest? How do I ensure that they are accurate? Because I can always sell myself. Now, as an auditor, your role is to provide assurance, is to give assurance to the readers of the financial statements, to say the numbers that you see, the story that is in this document is the truth as I know it, as I have audited it. And there is a set of rules that you apply to be able to arrive at that decision. To say whoever uses these financial statements for whatever reason, I want to say to you, these financials are fairly presented and they represent the financial position of the institution, the financial performance of the institution, and its cash flows. Now, I will not rely on something like that when you have just prepared it for your own business without somebody having looked at it, because your independence, when you prepare that, is impaired possibly. Your objectivity as well is impaired possibly, because there is a particular narrative that you want to pursue, that you want to give me. I want somebody to come and address that part, to say, prepare it, however, let me look at it. Here and there, you have been too ambitious. What you are saying to the people is not true. Change this and put it that way, or else I'm going to qualify your audit opinion.
And the way you're saying it, I think I want to bring it back to reality, because sometimes we talk about professions in isolation of real life, the current climate in South Africa, political and economic. What's the role of an accountant? Using what you just said now, how will you say we will be playing this role not only as just ACCA or as auditors, what is your role here? Before we go talking about the career itself, auditing, but the role it plays. But sometimes we need to take careers outside of their isolation and put them in real life, put them in how it affects life, because we know the current political and economic climate affect a lot of people. It affects the day-to-day life of doctors, nurses, policemen, taxi drivers. What's the role of an accountant there? How, in this current political and economic climate, will they be proactive?
Let me give you an example of an accountant and equate it to a job of a doctor.
Yeah.
These two are not necessarily different because you examine a patient.
Yeah.
You get an X-ray taken by someone, but whoever does that X-ray is going to give that X-ray to a doctor.
Yeah.
The doctor will then be able to interpret the X-ray for you. If I give you that X-ray, your own X-ray, you hardly will be able to know what to do with it. It is your own X-ray, it is your own picture that is showing how you look like inside. But will you know what to do with it? No. So you will need somebody who will tell you that actually, this line, this bone and this bone, this is how they are supposed to be. They are not that way. This is what you need to do. They leave you with a prescription.
Yeah.
You go and buy that medicine that has to help you to be exactly what they're saying or whatever they're dealing with. The same with an accountant.
Yeah.
Our role is not necessarily just to prepare financial statements.
Yeah.
It's to prepare them, interpret them, tell you where you are. What is going to happen if you don't take this route? What will it cost you to go this route?
Yeah.
What will it cost you not to do anything? If you want to stay in business, how long will it take you before you are out of business unless you do that? So we tell you what the future is going to look like while we're looking at where you come from.
Yeah.
Because when we prepare financial statements, they are prepared on historical basis, meaning we look back at where are you coming from to be able to tell you where you are going.
And that's so important. But at the same time, it raises the question of there's these issues that happen right now. We have our auditors, but now who's the watchdog of the watchdog? And now how are you ensuring that that watchdog is at a good standard? And I think that's where ACCA comes in, the independent regulatory of auditors comes in as well. Now this time, but we are building a story, Karen. You see how we are coming? We are building a story now. How do both those bodies, actually they're actually similar. How does the ACCA come in the role of an auditor in South Africa, taking into account the current political and economic climate, and also the independent regulatory body of auditors? How does all of that link in to ensure that as the ordinary guy, I can trust the word of an auditor? I can trust the statement I'm reading because the third-party auditor came in and verified it. How do those come in to ensure my confidence as a normal citizen?
Yes, for the longest of time in South Africa, you had only one accounting body that was auditing, which was accredited to do so by the Independent Regulatory Board of Auditors.
Yeah.
This is what you used to call the PAAB back in the days, the Public Accountants and Auditors Board.
Yeah.
Now, you are not going to audit in our country unless you are accredited to do so by IRBA. Now, recently, IRBA has approved, or should I say recognized, ACCA, which is a global accounting body that is auditing in other countries. There may be one or two countries where it's not auditing. South Africa was one of those countries where it was not auditing. Now, there is a set of rules, there is a set of standards, and a checklist that demonstrates that if you tick all these boxes, therefore you can be able to earn that recognition. What it means to the country, it means we have got another player to assist as far as audit and assurance is concerned. So we are, in a way, as a country, have just boosted our assurance capacity by just having another player who will then assist with dealing what you want to conceive as a bigger scope that might find us being stretched in a way that is another player in the space. So there will be an opportunity for us to close that gap, in the sense that we can be able to provide assurance, and there won't be any, in a way, backlogs, as it were. But at the end of the day, it has strengthened the assurance space by having another assurance provider.
Yeah.
And notwithstanding also the role of internal audit as well. Because sometimes when we talk about this idea, we sometimes limit it only to professional bodies, as if that is their only responsibility to provide assurance out there. But there is a concept that we have now that we call combined assurance, which brings also internal audit, which is what you find in almost every state organ, every department, every company. And it demonstrates that there is a dual responsibility by both the external assurance providers as well as the internal assurance providers, whose independence, both of them, should be preserved.
Yeah. And I think in closing right now, because, I want to keep things simple and short, ACCA, and as you said, it's an internationally huge institution, and finally it's in South Africa, and now it's assisting, ensuring there's assurance, there's independency, and whatever the normal man or the normal doctor is reading about financial statements, they see the name there, whoever accredited by ACCA, they can have assurance. But now, outside of just that, what's the one thing you would say ACCA brings in South Africa that is uniquely ACCA?
For me, I must say, the level of strategic training that we get through studying ACCA has been somewhat fulfilling to me as an individual. And also, I know a number of qualified ACCAs, that is their pride. Because what it does, it helps you when you read financial statements, read them to understand the business, read them to understand the business beyond the numbers. That's why, for me, knowing the business is the most important thing. Yes, you do find this across the board. Almost every auditor should know the business. But you also need to be able to know how to turn a business around. Because you have to preempt the economic environment that is yet to come. And ask yourself, how do you assist this institution to weather the storm when it gets there? So you are trained to assist an institution to have that level of agility, for it to be able to exist, notwithstanding what's coming. This is what you would have needed and have needed during COVID times, something that was never preempted. You need someone who walks in there. There's a lot of businesses that closed at that stage. And whoever would say, I actually knew and preempted what is yet to come, might to a certain extent not be telling the almost truth. But the question is, we are here now. How do we deal and weather the storm? So it gives you that latitude. It gives you that strength. And that, for me, it is one thing that I can always say. If I have to advise young and upcoming accountants, I will say that is your winning formula. That's your catch.
And one thing I just got from there, it's not the main point you just said, but it's a side point as well, is that you are telling me that ACCA allows you, when you're doing your auditing, doing your job, to tell a story in a manner that everyone can understand.
Yes.
I think that's another point I got. From the main point, I also got that. But thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. And also to simplify. Because it's rare to sit down with someone who's an auditor, who's in the numbers field, and simplify things the way you just did. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I truly appreciate it. And it was simple, easy, and straightforward. And that's the most amazing thing. Because you don't want to drag people for 6 hours about something you can just cover in 20 minutes. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So in closing, what do you want to say?
No, I just want to encourage those young and upcoming ACCA students who probably might have failed exams, and I just want to repeat again. Failing is part of preparation. Fail on your way to a pass. Never get discouraged. It is what they call hard is what makes it great. Give it your all, and one day you will thank yourself.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
I
very much.
appreciate it. Thank you so much for the
You're
opportunity.
welcome. Thank you.
And that's it, everyone, for today's episode of Student Investor Podcast with Ivan Sambo. Today, we're taking you deep to a new profession within the financial space. Until next time, be safe.